Hello, boys and girls. This is Voodoo Magic once again, coming to you with a game by MRJobe. MRJobe, of course, now leading the pack as the top ranking chess player of all time. Good reason for that too. He has yet to be beat after 4,362 games, which is just unbelievable. I mean, not only has that never been done, it's never been even close. There's one guy, Wei, Ding, whatever. Uh, Maybe his name was Ding, I think. I think it actually wasn't Ding. I'm not making fun of any kind of words there. No, was it him? Anyway, he almost won 100 in a row. He got 99 and he got beat. It's too bad. I was so sad. Okay, so MRJobe is playing once again. He's playing Houdini now. They thought, well, Stockfish can't beat him, so let's use the chess engine. No, 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 no. I was wrong. They changed it the last second. I remember now. They changed it to Alpha Zero, the chess engine that played itself for 4 hours and then beat Stockfish. Can you believe that? It's an AI engine that was only given the rules of the game, and in 4 hours it played itself in the game, and it ended up beating Stockfish. It played 100 games with Stockfish and won 25 and drew, not lost, drew the other 75. That's what blows me away. So anyway, MRJobe, of course, starts off with his standard, E4. Alpha Zero responds with the weird, strange opening. I think it's the Katasuda opening, if I'm right, challenging that pawn. MRJobe has no care in the world for that particular thing. He doesn't even need the pawn, I guess he thinks. It wasn't taken. What happened was it was backed up. Now this, I believe, is what they call the anti-French defense. It's supposed to be very, very popular. Very, very good too, they say. So anyway, MRJobe now plays the subtle C to E3. Now, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Alpha Zero just goes ahead and now takes the pawn. So I guess he thought now's a good time. So MRJobe now plays his. Now you see here, he's the one now with the pawn structure. What's he going to do with this knight though? He doesn't have the knight ability to go right there. So let's move forward. Let's see what happens. Alpha Zero plays the G pawn, apparently going to fianchetto. Some people call it fianchetto. I think it's fianchetto, if the right term is. MRJobe now plays his bishop. Now here's the fun part. Comes the fun part. Alpha Zero challenges the bishop. He moves the bishop back. Alpha Zero comes out with the knight. The knight can actually attack here, and then if he were to attack back, of course the pawn would now support this pawn, but MRJobe did not do that. MRJobe says, finally, he says, well, I'm not going to fianchetto it right now. Well, see, notice that he moved up and down and up, so he didn't do fianchetto, of course. Now the fianchetto now comes into effect. And then MRJobe, in a desperate move, not really desperate, I just said that just for saying the word, moves up his bishop. Now he doesn't have anywhere good to go, I don't think, because he could be easily taken here, and that would make a pawn island here. But so anyway, so he doesn't do anything. He just goes ahead and castles. When they first designed that move, it was not originally called castles. It was called big building. So, I mean, it's pretty weird. So anyway, MRJobe now plays his queen up. And then we got the pawn up. MRJobe decides to move his knight up and prepare so he can actually castle on this side, which might not be that great of a deal, but we'll see. He seems to know what he's doing in chess. So then MRJobe plays his knight. He could play his day. I don't care. So then the bishop comes out. He decides to fake us all out and actually castle on the queen side. Woohoo! Maybe that's what the whole thing was here. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes the knight. That was a amazing move, if you can even say so. Now MRJobe decided to move up so he could have the whole back rank to himself for moving his knights, his rooks over. And I kind of see some kind of ideas over here, and so his king wouldn't even be in trouble at all. Pretty smart, actually. Okay, so now the knight can't go anywhere, but he ends up going over here, preparing for an attack on the king side. MRJobe decides to take a really cool move, which was moving over his rook, like he said. But then he blunders. He leaves his bishop wide open. His king now is in the way of his knight, and so the pawn takes it. He doesn't want to retreat because he wants his rooks to be put together, and then boom, boom. So he loses a piece. He's down an entire piece. I've never seen someone recover from being down an entire piece. Not the people, the grandmasters at this scale. Then all of a sudden, he starts going after pieces, causing pawn islands. But MRJobe has something up his sleeve. He has to. I mean, why did he do this horrible thing? Okay, so MRJobe is waiting for something. And this was what happened, folks. I've never seen this move before. This is one of the grandest moves of all time. He takes the queen. He takes the queen. Now, of course, it gets retaken because as he took it, like you see, he takes the queen and then he turns it into a queen, so it has to be retaken. That was amazing. I mean, people were watching that. They were stunned. I was stunned. I didn't know what to think of it, actually. So now he moves his rook up to attack the pawn. Rook comes over to attack the pawn. He takes the knight. The knight gets retaken. He takes the pawn. Now he's down an entire queen now. Yes, he has. Actually, he has the same amount of pieces now. MRJobe came up with an amazing plan of taking the pieces out. So MRJobe says, hey, you know, so he doesn't do that, right? So he moves up like this, you know. So he's kind of about to maybe challenge this pawn. We'll see what he does. I'm not sure what he does. MRJobe, in a very strange move, I don't know why he did this. He moves he wants to take that pawn desperately for some reason. I don't know, because he gives it up, and the guy takes it with the rook. Can you believe this? Then out of nowhere, MRJobe takes it with his knight. I couldn't believe that move. I mean, people are like, what? Where was that knight? I didn't even see it. But he did it. He did it. I was there. So that was kind of frustrating for AlphaZero. AlphaZero now is in a spot where he has to protect his pieces. He doesn't have that many pieces left. So he decides to move a knight into a place where maybe it can get away, maybe it can do different things, maybe it can just various things. So then this is what happened after this point. Now at this point you can see that he's in dire straits. Not the band, once again, not the band. What does he do? He moves a pawn up. He has to make some kind of move, and that's what's called what is it called? Zugzwang, where no matter what move you make, you're pretty much hosed. So he moves his knight back because he can now, because the other knight's not attacking it. Then MRJobe moves up with his knight to attack the king. They can come back over this place, but I don't think it's a very good idea. So he goes up in this place right here. MRJobe decides to end the game immediately. You're looking at like, how does he do that? Where's the move? Well, there isn't one. See, I was just faking you out. That was a fake out. How'd you like that? So MRJobe actually starts wailing on the pawns. Says, I don't need that pawn. So he has to take it. I mean, what's he going to do? He's not going to leave this wide open. So MRJobe now comes in with the knight. Well, he's like, what do I do now? You know, he knows that if somehow the queen gets up here, the game's over. So he ponders for a second and says, well, you know, I really don't have a move still. So he moves the pawn up. MRJobe moves the queen up for attacking right here to put the king in check. But of course the bishop's protecting it. But then you got the bishop coming down. Now what that does, folks, what that does is it leaves something amazing to happen. And what we'll see in just a second. The king comes over to attack that knight. Then no one knew what was going to happen, not even I. He goes ahead and takes the bishop. Well, he's forced to, I can't retake it. Did you see that? He can't retake it. It's done. In fact, he could have come up with the queen, but he decided not to do it. So what does he do now? He can't go here. He can't go here. I mean, he could go here potentially, but let's see what he does. I mean, he's once again in this Schwangzoop, you know, with schwangs or something. And then, so he decides, well, I got to do something, you know. I got to leave this pawn up here to protect these pawns, but there's just too many pawns there. He takes this pawn, and actually he doesn't do it because that'd be a really stupid move. So he says, I guess that I'm going to move back over here. And I'm going to give you 7 seconds. Go ahead and pause the video. You can have as much time as you want. Pause the video and tell me what move MRJobe makes now that ends the game. Okay, this is the move he made. He could have made any kind of move at all to do all the various things, but he chose the perfect move to win the game, and he puts the queen right there. He puts the queen right there. And this, you know, he can't take this because he's protected by the queen. Of course, the knight protects him. There's nowhere to go. Game over. Game over. I mean, that's just amazing. And I'll show you the next game. So after this, so that one was it stunned a lot of people. Are like, what was that? What just happened there? Well, no one really knows. It just came out of nowhere, and so I hope you can take something away from that game. I don't know how. So let's move on to the next game. The next game, MRJobe plays again. He plays the white pieces. He comes up and makes his standard move. Now he blocks it this time. He's like, okay, I didn't like it the way it happened last time, so let's do it. He protects the pawn. He comes up to protect his pawn itself. He then attacks the pawn. What this is called is Zhangzhuang declined because he doesn't take it. So then he decides to move this pawn up, preparing to fianchetto. MRJobe moves up the knight. Then he decides to move up his knight right here, protected by the queen. And then MRJobe says, okay, this is a position that he likes, but he wants to kind of make some kind of dent in AlphaZero's structure. So he goes ahead and he takes the rook on the king side. So there's no way to fianchetto because he no longer can he castle. And then guess what? He turns this actually into a queen. What does he do? I mean, he can't do anything really. I mean, he's about to take the knight potentially right now, but he can't do much besides take the pawn. But still, he's got this bishop is pinned. So Alpha Zero says, okay, well, if you're going to do that, I'm just going to do this. Well, MRJobe says, I don't care. I just don't care. I'm going to open up my queen's lanes by taking the other rook. Alpha Zero is just getting eaten up. What started last game as a hey, this is a new way of playing, is now a standard now played by MRJobe that, I don't know, maybe it'll take a new life of its own, change chess forever. Okay, so he made that move, and of course he turns that into a queen again. So he's going a pounding on that. He's pounding on both sides. Now the knight is blocking the queen, and the queen, is protecting the king. So he really, he could take it, but he just lose it. But he takes it again. Well, no, he just took that. So he has to do something, right? So he goes, let's see here. He kind of fiddles his thumbs a second and says, you know what? I don't like this. I want to move my bishop back to protect this pawn in case he tries to come this way for some reason. So MRJobe goes ahead and takes the knight, retaken by the queen. He loses an entire queen just for a knight. Can you believe that? MRJobe takes the bishop, and then knows that the king is going to have to do that. So MRJobe comes up, and he actually puts a bishop to attack the king. Which way does he go, folks? Which way does he go? He moves down in the center where he's got a lot of pieces to protect him. But not from MRJobe. I'm telling you what, MRJobe comes up to attack the bishop. Well, he doesn't want to give up this whole area right here because it would hurt the king. So he actually moves the king back. But MRJobe decides to bust open the middle by playing his pawn, protected by this pawn up over here. But he's got to do something. Now his bishop's in the way. Does he take it with the bishop? Does he lose his bishop? So he decides not to lose his bishop. Now he ends up doing what he didn't want to do in the first place, which was kind of starting messing around and moving pieces away from his king side. So he takes it. Now MRJobe comes up with a knight. He can't move this piece up, so he's about to take that piece, but he's got this. Of course, he's got this knight right here. So what does he do now? He needs to keep his pieces over this area, so he goes ahead and moves his queen right there. Where MRJobe, he notices that this rook over here on A1 is not doing anything, so he goes ahead and he moves it up to attack the queen. So the queen goes, oh my gosh, he's also attacking the king, so it has to be done. Something has to be done. So he sacrifices his queen to the bishop just to keep that open. Now the game is afoot, my friends. The game is afoot. So he moves the king over to attack the bishop. But that doesn't matter to MRJobe. He just takes the knight. But how can it be retaken? It can only be retaken. Actually, he can't do that yet because he's in check, right? So in fact, 2 moves ago, if you go back 2 moves ago, when he had the I forget how it was set up. Let's just say, for example, it was like this. He really couldn't move into that spot because it was protected. It was like something like this, or yeah, he was being attacked, so he can't really move there a while ago. He just what happened there? Okay, so he actually decides to move over up, this way, so he can like move his bishop that way. Well, MRJobe knows that the guy is in kind of a lot of trouble here, so he moves this bishop right there. And the next move is going to be right here, and it's going to attack all these rows, but he can't go anywhere because these are kind of messed up as it is. So, what can you do? He just moves a pawn up. And sure enough, MRJobe comes up with this knight to attack this whole area. So what can you do? This is a point. This is a straight point attack. It's not. There's no thing you can do with the block. It's only it has to move it back. Okay. Crazy chess here. Absolute crazy. So he goes up and he attacks that bishop. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna get that bishop." MRJobe says, "Well, I don't give a flying flip. I'm going to bust open your king side." Well, one thing this does do good for him is it keeps his bishop away from being taken by the knight. So this was a sacrifice right here. Well, what MRJobe next is quite amazing. I don't know what it is yet, but anyway, he moves the bishop down. So now he's got these 4 pieces protected. The bishop's protected by the knight, and all he can do, I mean, he has to think of something to do. So he moves that piece down. So MRJobe thinks about it for a bit, and he says, "You know what? I can end this game right now." So he moves a rook right up there to attack the king. He's protected by the bishop. The bishop can't go here and here, and he can't go in these spots. Game over. Game over. He beats AlphaZero once again in spectacular fashion. This is a game, folks, you really should write down. You need to probably bookmark this video because this is what you'll just probably never see something like this. Maybe later on you'll see something even better by MRJobe, but as far as currently in the games I've seen, not only of MRJobe but of all time, this is just it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's one of the most amazing things. Both of these games. The first one started off kind of slow, and then MRJobe had to make got kind of tired of what was going on, and so he decided to throw caution to the wind and just start attacking pieces on the back rank of AlphaZero. But this one was just complete destruction from the very get-go. So I hope you appreciate this video. Give me some likes, some comments, and we can discuss. If you want to put some comments in there, I'll talk with you, and we can discuss what could have done, what AlphaZero could have done differently, maybe. But this is AlphaZero. I mean, what do you do? Would you tell him to play chess differently? Anyway, so I hope you appreciate this video, and I'll be seeing you very, very soon. Until then, adios.